Guys, look at my gorgeous new truck. She's here. I'm gonna have to figure out what her name is. But man, she drives nice and she is gorgeous inside. So come along this week and let me introduce you to my new Coronado. All right, so I am now sitting in my 2013 Freightliner Coronado, and I am so impressed with it. I love it. It's beautiful. It literally has the best of both worlds, from the old and the new. So from that standpoint, this to me is a damn near perfect truck. I'm gonna take you for a little bit of a tour of it, and this first week that I have it, show you a couple of loads that I'm hauling and just bring you along. I got this truck yesterday. James and I came down to pick it up, and I got moved out of the other one pretty quick. That Classic XL was a great truck. Man, that thing shifted so good. Really just a good truck. Like I couldn't complain about it. Other than your older trucks, and I love the Pete 379s, but they're really tight inside. The Kenworth, like the W900s, they're tight. Well, the 990 for some reason is not as bad, but the 900 tight inside. And this thing, I mean, look, it's a full sleeper, super sleeper. Look, I have space. I have big windows, and then even my windshield. Just, it's a good space. So the Coronado has some of the new features, the new amenities. I've got power windows. Check this out. Power windows. Look at that. Love that. I mean, it's the little things literally that make this job so much easier. This seat reclines more. It's a little wider. The other seat, I will say, had a lot of support in the legs, which it fit me great. It would not really, I can't imagine, be comfortable for a bigger person because it was snug. But what I hated was the back part of the seat, because it did not recline so much, and there was no lumbar support. So your lower back literally got sucked in, your upper back got pushed out. It was dreadful. It was absolutely dreadful. But I did like that truck. It was a good truck. So this new truck, new to me, it has over 1 million miles on it, 1.12. So it was a FedEx truck, and I believe it was an owner-operator truck. It's got the wood grain, even on the dashboard, on the door, as you come around. Now, I'm so sorry, you guys. This truck is still being moved into, so pardon the mess, the absolute chaos that is this truck right now. But look at this nice cabinet under here. It's got 2 shelves in it. This one has another 2 shelves. My top bunk, I've got that nice big cabinet, and I believe that one's got 4 shelves. Woo! And I love these. They're just handy. You can put a whole bunch of stuff in there. It also has a fridge. They took the inverter out, so the fridge is still not working, but it is installed. I also have the microwave, so once my inverter is installed, I will have that plugged up. This mattress, you guys, I don't know what it is, but it's amazing, and I begged BJ and Jennifer to let me have this mattress in this truck. So I took it out of the Classic, and here we go. This thing I sleep so good on. I've got my sheets at home being washed, and I have windows. I'll be taking these covers off. I have a door, which helps for moving stuff in. For now, I'll probably leave this upper bunk up, but if Keely or Caden comes out with me, then I'll go ahead and bring it down, and there is a mattress. It's got the sunlight, and I love those. Some people don't like them. People feel like that light is too bright, lets in too much heat. I don't usually find that. It's tinted pretty well. I don't know if you can tell. It's pretty tinted, but again, you get the extra light, and it makes it feel bigger. One of the features that this truck has, any truck can have this, but not all do, is these front curtains. So a lot of your big trucks, we have a big curtain that runs across here. I don't know if you can tell, across here to here. And so you're left with your space back in the bunk feeling a little cramped. But this one has the curtains that go all the way around through the windshield. So you still have your entire cab to walk around, and I love that. I really, really love that. The curtains apparently have been taken down, as you can see where the little track is up there. Not sure why, but I don't hate it. Usually when you have your big curtains, again, you know, they're hanging from there, and then they come down, and then they just put a lot of bulk behind the seats. So there's the driver's seat. And again, I am so sorry. This is the dirtiest this truck is ever going to be. But as you know, I've told you, moving into a new truck is like moving homes. I have netting up here, and the netting is still attached. That poor Classic was so old and beat up. You know, this stuff was coming out, and it had a mesh here instead of a drawer. So everything would just fall out and hit your head. This has lockable, I'm not gonna eat those, so don't judge me. But lockable bins. Gotta get some Pepsid, you know, for the road. I gotta put my CB in here. So there's the cab from the back. Isn't it beautiful? I mean, it's overall a clean truck. I gotta do my cleanup to it. 10 speed, it's 500 horsepower, Detroit. We're gonna try to work on the rear end, I think. It doesn't have a whole lot of power from the rear. It drives beautiful, smooth, shifts nice. I'm really liking this truck. All right, so let's get into driving this truck and kind of take it for a spin. I am picking up a heavy load today. We pick up these loads of concrete drains, and they are heavy. So today I get to put it through a workout and kind of see what this truck will do. We're going to get back to that bumper here in a minute. I am at Retro Paint in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and these guys are amazing. Let me tell you, these guys are super, super fast. We're going to watch them get my truck loaded and get out of here. We're taking this load up to Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's a load that I do fairly frequently, and I just have to give a shout out to these guys because they are amazing. They're always great to deal with, and they're right now staging the load for me. But when they get out here, there's one right now, hopping. This thing will be loaded in 10 minutes flat. This is the white lines on the road. It's reflective, and in the background you can see the yellow. So that's where part of your road comes from. All right, guys, so I'm here with one of my best subscribers and my best workers ever. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jerry Thomas.
Best forklift driver in the world. Just don't tell him that.
That's my partner back
Well, we are driving today through the remnants of Hurricane Helene, and it's windy out. It's not really blowing me too much across the road, and I gotta say it's way better with a skateboard for a trailer rather than the dry vans, which act, as you might know or might not, like a big giant sail, and they'll just take you right across the road. So while it is windy, it's not as bad as I've dealt with before. Luckily, Steven and I got to our delivery spot last night. We went ahead and unstrapped. It wasn't raining yet. We went and had a nice steak dinner. Came back, still not raining, barely spitting. And then I slept really good because overnight it was glitches about it that will probably need to be looked at and repaired. Just little minor things, just very minor. But overall, it drives beautifully. Lovely, lovely interior. And I'm very, very pleased with the Coronado so far. Very pleased. It really does remind me of the Freightliners that I've had before, like the Cascadias. It's got a couple little extra features. It's nice. It's got a whole bunch of nice dials on it that you don't have on every truck. It's got the pyrometer, which measures your exhaust heat. It's got transmission pressure. Like a lot of times you'll have a dial that shows you how hot your coolant is, but not necessarily the pressure in there. This has got that as well. So it's got some nice little. It's also got the turbo pressure, so you can see how much turbo you're using. And again, most of your company trucks are just not going to have those dials. Well, I stopped for breakfast and got a protein bar. I like the Quest bars. I still need to do the video on how I eat while I'm on the road. I'm going to enjoy my coffee, and as my dear friend Randall says, I'm going to keep it between the mustard and the mayo for a while because the wind is a-blowing. Luckily, it's not raining too hard right now, and I'm really hoping that it stays that way until after I'm done being loaded and strapped. The other day when I unloaded down around Atlanta, I got drenched, soaked to the bone, and I had to get in the truck and just completely strip down. Yeah, you know, and put some new clothes on. Like I was soaking wet. My gloves are still drying out there under my feet here by blower, so that they can still be trying to get some air and dry it out. I've got several pairs of gloves that I use, but this is my favorite pair. So at any rate, that's trucking for you. First time with a flatbed getting back into a dock. It's been a while and it felt good, gotta say. Alright, so we've been doing this sand project where we get sand from China, I believe it is. And they use it to make bowling balls and weird objects, and it's super fine. I've got some on the back of this trailer. Kind of cool what they can make sand with, you know? And there's the old classic, even though it's a Freightliner, I call that old Petey. And I am going to be driving my baby. I've been calling this one Sugar because it's a glider. So Sugar Glider. She has a little bit of a steering issue, but I'm going to drive her anyway because I don't give a shit. Let's do this. Sugar will be going in the shop again today, this evening, and we're going to see if we can't figure out what's going on with the steering box that just got replaced. Well, this will be day 3 of doing our barge sand project, and I'm not sure if you can tell by my surroundings, but I'm back in the classic XL. My truck is back in the shop again. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the last 3 weeks and the hell I've been living in. Alright, so where do I begin, you guys? Let's go back to the bumper. That kind of starts all of this off. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's been going on the last 3 weeks while I get unloaded over here. So I got my beautiful Coronado, introduced you guys to it, ran one load, those cement drains you may have seen. Got down to my delivery, everything went great until it didn't. So this place was really pretty bad. It was just junked up and a lot of overly tight like bends and curves and dips. I kept thinking the trailer might bottom out, and it didn't, thankfully. But I go to back up, and there's another driver beside me to my left. and you have to back up into this kind of like driveway that they've made for the trucks to get turned around. So the other driver, who I know and like very much, was watching me on my left side, and the guy that had unloaded me was watching me on my right side. Usually I don't get spotters when I'm backing up, so it was nice to have some extra set of eyes. I had just been unloading in this area and had not, seen anything weird other than a rubble pile a little ways off, and I was a good 20 feet off of that. As I start backing up, I get the trailer going where I want it to go, and I crank the wheels hard to the left to get back underneath my trailer. And as I did that, it was like the perfect storm. There was a boulder of sorts that the wind had blown dirt all over it. You couldn't see it. It was barely sticking out of the ground. But as I went by, the ground got softer and the rock went just to the inside of my wheel that I had turned sharp to the left. So it pulled off my bumper, and it also sheared off the bottom of, there's like an air reservoir for your air bags up front. Sheared that off. So let me tell you, going back was fun. I did drive back. I just couldn't use my brakes very much. So it was a constant management of, we give it some fuel to where the air compressor runs and keeps air in my tanks, and obviously use my brakes when I needed to. So it was interesting to say the least. So the first run I had, that happened, and my poor bumper just took the brunt of it. So then my truck was in the shop for 2 more days. Didn't have it. Back in the classic. I get my truck back. I run one more load. I ran up to, it was almost to Johnson City, Tennessee. Anyway, going up 81, right after the hurricane. Delivered a load, picked up a load of 2 of those JLG lift fork truck thingies, chained them down. It was beautiful. Took off. My steering felt like it was floating, and not in a good way. Like the front end was just kind of bouncing all over the road. And it's getting dark. So I pulled over on the side of the road, popped the hood, called BJ. I am mechanical, but I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know everything to look at, and I don't claim to be one. I'm not one of these, I'm a super trucker and everything. I do what I can, and if somebody's explaining engines to me, I get it. I know how engines work. But when it comes to the little things, I'm sorry, I don't know. The power steering fluid looks like it's been bubbling over a little bit. The cap, in the long run, is not all that great. It doesn't have a great seal in it. But I couldn't really see anything else other than that my steering column had a lot of play in it, a whole lot. So I throw some power steering fluid in it. It tightens up a little bit, and I get it back home. The next day, I take it down to GTG. You may remember them from my video where I was getting my batteries changed. Power steering box needed to be replaced. So apparently, the power steering box should not be super hot. It'll get warm as the truck is being driven, but it doesn't get hot. And poor Matt actually burned his hand a little bit on it. He could not keep his hand on the box. It was that hot. So they replaced it. They also found, now I look, especially at my steer tires, for you non-truckers, the steer tires are these guys here up front. I look at those pretty religiously. I look at all my tires pretty religiously because, no tire, no truck. Brakes, tires, and air, those are my 3 biggies. My steer tire had a huge gash, like something had been stuck somewhere and then just rolling around. So the problem with that is, A, what did that? Because no components underneath the truck were hitting the tire. None of them. But also, I never felt anything, and I'm pretty sensitive in my hands as to what I'm feeling through the truck. Never felt it. So that in itself, not good. But also the fact that if that steer tire had blown, that would have been really ugly. That's like every trucker's worst nightmare, is you don't want a steer tire to blow because there's so much power behind it. Not a good day. So that would have been ugly. My truck he's in the shop, or she's in the shop for, 3-4 days. It was over the weekend. Get the power steering box replaced. We had a better deal to get the steer tire changed somewhere else. I went and got the truck. I don't even remember what day it was now. Let's say it was Tuesday. And I take the truck over to another guy that we use and got the steer tire replaced. Okay, good. There's still a little bit of a wobble in the front end. It must be the right steer tire, but the tire itself looks good. I don't really see any flat spots in it. But anyway, I digress. Run a load that day. Truck ran beautifully, beautifully. Just a real pleasure to drive. That truck is it's just a dream to drive. Until it wasn't. So I was we haul lumber down to a building supply place here in Rossville, Georgia. And I have two kind of normal but sharp, they're 90-degree right turns. And I went to make it, and the truck basically said, no, I'm not turning. And I had to really wrestle it around, which in itself, that's not good either. Not fun. Not at all. Not at all. But I thought, well, maybe there's air in the lines. Just like brakes, when they get changed, you have to bleed the air out. See, I do know a little things. And so I figured, well, maybe that's it too. I asked James, my husband, who's very knowledgeable. He said the same thing. Called Matt at GTG, told him about it. He said, yeah, it could be air. He said, I bled it down really good, but you never know. Although nobody really knows how long it's going to take to bleed the air down. All right. So I drive it again the next day. It drives beautifully. Oh my God, it was just a great day. Until it wasn't. So right before you pull into our lot where we park up in Cleveland, you have, two right turns. The truck did it again. Locked up the first time, I kept it on the road and I got it around. The second time, pulling into our lot, luckily there's just dirt on the other side. It's just down at the end of the road. It's a dirt dead end. And but it took me off in the dirt. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, that was a little scary, because if that had been a car, I would have really done some damage. So I parked it and I came and got the Classic. The truck is now in the shop again. I got to use it on, what is today? Let's see. So I got to use it on Thursday. Truck did fine, no issues. But we sent it down to our mechanic, Bobby, who's amazing and does really good work. And I've not heard back from him yet, so I don't know if that's a good thing or not. They are thinking, and therefore I am thinking along with them, that there is a worm gear in this power steering box that might be bad or maybe not adjusted correctly. I don't know, guys. If you know, don't laugh at me. And that's what he was going to check. The box itself is under warranty through Kenworth, so that would be a good thing, I suppose. But you know how these things go. So at any rate, I'm back in the Classic today. I cannot get away from this truck. It just keeps pulling me back. I miss Sugar, as I've been calling her, because she's a sugar glider. Yes, I'm cheesy. But old PD over here drives really good, so we're getting it done. We're hauling this sand today. This is my third day hauling it, and I just wanted to give you an update what happened with my bumper and what happened with my truck. And it's just been a hellacious 3 weeks. It really has. Truck's in shops. This one having issues. You may have noticed in some prior clips in this video and maybe in other videos where I was trying to paint my nails a little bit and be a little girly. Well, that was an epic fail, because somehow, can you see the bruising in my fingers? It's in every single one. Every single one. So that's been fun too. Everything hurts on my fingertips. That's what I get for trying to be girly. And maybe I'll quit that for a while. I'm not sure why my fingers reacted this way. At any rate, that's for a whole other video, I guess. You guys don't care about that. So I will keep you updated. I want to get this video out. I will give you an update in the next couple videos on what happened with the Coronado. As a whole, I love the truck. As an overview, I just love this truck. It is beautiful. It's got so much storage. It's a pleasure to drive. I mean, you have to almost just be like, relaxed when you shift it, whereas old PD over here, you have to really you gotta mean it. It doesn't have a lot of power, but it drives amazing. And it's just super comfortable. I can't wait to do some overnight trips in that. If we can ever get it worked out mechanically, it will be an amazing truck. I guess that's all. So seriously, on that note, I literally have to say, stay patient. Take a breath. But don't take any shit. Not even from power steering boxes.